Okay, welcome to the Redefining Real Estate Live podcast. My name is Michelle Ellis, owner and realtor at eXp Realty. I am super excited to have Matt Lionetti with me today, and we are going to chat authenticity. First of all, I do believe in world-class relationships, and I also believe in world-class education. And I think that together we can bring that to you today. And hopefully you can take home a few golden nuggets. You can listen and learn something and then implement to your business and help to transform you and put you into a new level of success, hopefully. So Matt, I'm super excited to have you on. We were at the video course in Toronto. I don't even know, a couple months ago, was it? It feels like a couple weeks, but I think it's been a couple months. And you spoke and you just blew me away with just how just off the cuff and authentic that you are. And I think that there's not enough people being their authentic selves in this business. And you are like such a perfect example of that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into real estate, kind of where your business is at? I know you're in Toronto, so whereabouts in Toronto?
Yeah, so well, I market as I sell a lot in Toronto, but I live in Bowmanville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm Durham. I mean, I sell more in Durham, but I sell in Toronto. But my following is kind of all over the place. So, saying Bowmanville doesn't really get too far with anyone in the States. So just say Toronto and take it from there.
Yeah. Actually, that means you're closer to me. So
yeah. Where are you at?
I'm in like the Trent Hills, Hastings
Okay.
County. So
Yeah. All my Toronto friends think I live in like Farmville. They don't see it being like built up at all. But yeah, I've been in the business for 6 years. I was a touring musician before this.
Cool.
Got into the business pretty much just from like $1 Million Listing, like watching those real estate shows and thinking I was just gonna like destroy my first year and make like millions of dollars. Didn't happen that way at all. And it was quite the rude awakening right off the first couple of years for sure. And about 2.5, 3 years in, I started doing these comedy video skits because I was thinking about getting out of the business because I could not get anything going and nothing was working. I was frustrated, deflated, and was thinking about just going back to my job that I had worked at Sunglass Hut right before I got into and I was moving up there. And I was thinking maybe I just go back to my job at Sunglass Hut and that's it for me. And there's something that kept me in it with these comedy skits. I'd had these ideas since I got into the business, and everyone told me not to do them. And when I was thinking about getting out of the business, it was kind of like, back against the wall, nothing left to lose. I'm going to try them. If they don't work, I'll get out.
Yeah,
I tried them, and it brought me on a whole new
different
journey.
I love your videos. They are so good and so funny. And I think that like, I wish I could be that funny, but you are. I loved your Michael Myers one for Halloween.
Oh,
was a great one.
Thank you.
And then you had another really funny. Oh, the Grant Cardone one was really funny too.
Thanks. Yeah, it was my last two. I mean,
I loved those. I'm like, man, I wish I had like a crew of people to help me like put something like this together.
Yeah, well, we're working on it. We're working on stuff like that for everyone to get some help and for me to direct people. So that might be coming out in the next couple months, where agents can come to a location and we can get some ideas together. I can direct them how they can kind of be themselves on camera.
I think too, like with when it comes to video and stuff, like we go to these conferences on video and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like we need the conference, and like part of the day is like, here's what you learn, and then the other half of the day is let's do it, right?
Yeah.
You have to actually, I find that I never get enough momentum to actually implement when I get home.
Yeah, and the problem is with I talk about this when I talk. At least half the conferences are fucking bullshit. I mean, there's just people who they're saying nothing of substance there. They're saying what everyone else says, and they're just essentially going on the stage to share their accolades and share how amazing they are. They're not really providing any type of value in any way. So I think, we need to hone in on the conferences that are actually good. And then, do something like that where you can actually more of like a conference meets a mastermind and actually
Yeah. And
figure it out.
implement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you find that like when you were first in the business, so obviously comedy and humor comes natural to you. Did you feel like you were sort of like masking that when you were first in the business because like you weren't really sure how people would be receptive to it, or like, because that's what I feel like with authenticity, we're kind of afraid to be ourselves, but then when we are ourselves, things can like explode into a whole new world.
Yeah, the first as soon as I got my license, I deleted like every photo of me playing the guitar on Facebook because I thought it wasn't professional. I wouldn't dare to like say a fucking joke. I mean, that was like not even in the. I was mortified. I was mortified to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I was just trying, I would see people in my office that were successful, and I would just try and mimic that. And what I didn't realize is it's great to take inspiration from people, but you can't just mimic every move they do because people will
Yeah.
read through that. They can see when you're not
Mhm.
being genuine. Um, and the reason it's so weird because the reason I got into the business was because I thought I had a good personality. You
Yeah.
know, my whole life people seemed to like gravitate towards me and they would say like, "Oh, you're funny and like you're engaging and that kind of shit." And then as soon as I got in the business, I lost all that. That was my greatest asset and it was gone. And for like 2.5 years, I didn't realize that that was the thing that was hindering myself, was just not actually being myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that so you said like 2 or 3 years into it, you finally decided to be the real authentic Matt, and then things
Yeah.
kinda took
I'm
off?
Yeah, I had nothing. Like I said, I was going to get out of the business. I mean, nothing was working for me. And I got into this industry with such like high ambitions to like do great, great things and like really like elevate this. I thought I was going to like, I wanted to change everything and like do things in a different way. And I just threw all that out the window. So when I was thinking about getting out of the business, I really felt like a sense of relief for the next couple months because I was like, I can literally try anything.
Yeah,
I'm already 1 foot out the door. If this doesn't work, I'll just get out of the
no big
business.
deal.
Like, who cares? So I
Yeah.
really just experimented to the max and I
Yeah, and
niched down.
obviously
Yeah.
yeah, it's worked so well for you, and I think too, like, you've been able to make some really great, connections, like Gary V, and there's a couple of other ones that you've been able to I mean, you have a new podcast, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we have our original podcast, Over Ask, which is part of Broke Agent Media, which is
Right.
the media company. And then, yeah, we are just in the beginning stages of our next podcast, Cold Calls, which is kind of like a real estate love line type podcast where people send in horror stories.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I do like to ask is, like, tell me the worst thing that's ever happened,
Yeah,
because it's never the same thing, and it's always like, you always think you have the worst story until you hear the other one, and it's like,
exactly.
"Oh, wow."
I know.
So like when you have those, you are building those relationships, and that's what I would call a world-class relationship. Obviously, Gary V and all of these people have such a high following. And well, for one, Gary V for me is like, he's authentic as they come as well. And I mean, you can learn so much just from his lives and all this stuff. So how do you get relationships with those types of people? Are they reaching out to you because of your videos? Are you reaching out to them? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I mean the Gary V. I mean, we spoke at a conference. I wouldn't say we have a relationship or anything, but it's like getting that, just getting in front of those people and being kind of beside those people. Like your consumers, your audience sees that,
Yeah.
and it's something cool that not everyone else can say. Like the first kind of big person who reached out from the videos was Ryan Serhant. He saw way back when in 2020, when I was like in the beginning stages, I did a Freddie Mercury video, and he saw that and he commented on it. His team did like a full article on it,
Oh,
and that was
wow.
the first thing that kind of like really got the ball rolling for me. And then yeah, since it's just been crazy. Like I'm good friends with Jordan Cohen. He's the number one Remax agent in the world. He's sold Sylvester Stallone's house and like
Oh,
all
that's
these
pretty
like
cool.
that kind of shit. Like he's a celebrity realtor. So yeah, there's just like it's all been kind of through the videos and networking and like the videos. What people don't understand is like it's you don't have to just make videos to provide value all the time. Like
Mhm.
in my
Showing who
mind,
you are, right?
yeah, I'm just trying to make videos to stay top of mind. Everyone knows I'm a real estate agent. They also know I'm a content creator. So I just try and stay top of mind and start conversations.
Mhm.
My videos start conversations, and that's how all of this has happened. Like I spoke at Inman, Las Vegas, and I shared a green room with Jason Oppenheim and Mary Fitzgerald from Selling Sunset. Like it's just like it's the opportunities that can come from it is crazy. And these are people that are hard to get in touch with. Like, and the fact that like I'm just sharing a green room with them, like that's an
That's so cool.
opportunity, like to get in front of someone who, it's hard to get in front of. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's awesome. I'm even like, so with this podcast, I literally had it ready to go for the last 2 years. And I've been like, okay, I'm ready, but I'm too afraid to ask anybody to come on my show. And I'll be damned if I'm going to just talk myself. And
Yeah.
then after the video course, I was just like, you know what? Like, I have nothing to lose. I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I'll have people on the show that are, doing really, really well, and or people who are not doing really, really well, and like explaining what's happening in their world and how they're overcoming it and that kind of thing. And so I was actually really afraid to ask you to come
Really?
on the show because I was just like, he's kind of a big deal. Like maybe
No.
he'll say no. And I think that a lot of people are, for me, I think they're afraid of the rejection, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I think once you kind of get over that hump of just being like, if they say no, they say no. It's no big deal. And then I'll just ask them again in 3 months and they'll say no. And then eventually in six months or a year, they might just say yes because they are annoyed with my messages.
Yeah, it is a crazy thing because that's such a big reason why people fail in this industry in general is because they're scared of rejection.
Hmm.
And once you actually like put yourself in the eye of rejection, like it's really not that bad.
No.
like if someone says no, they're not saying no because they hate you. They're saying no because they're
Yeah.
busy. Like they can't do it. It's nothing against you. And
Yeah.
like you said, yeah, you keep like doing it and keep asking and when they say no, that should just drive you more to like start it,
Be
make
better
your
and
show better. Yeah,
make
that
them
they
wish that they would have said yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how my whole career I felt I've had a chip on my shoulder. Um from just growing up. I mean, I wasn't supposed to amount to anything. Like my
Yeah.
teachers would always tell me, like they would tell me straight to my face like you're going to amount to nothing. Like I've actually heard that from like multiple teachers. My wife, we were high school sweethearts, so we dated in high school, and she was like a straight A student. And they would actually take her aside and be like, "What are you doing with him? Like you can do so much better than him."
What?
So a lot of my life is proving people wrong.
I
Um,
that fires me up too.
yeah,
I enjoy the fact that well, I was a single mom when I started real estate with like $47 to my name, no credit cards, no nothing.
nice.
Like I was blessed to be given an opportunity to have my courses paid for up front and then pay them back after I sold my few first houses. And yeah, like my dad, many people in my life were just like, you're taking too big of a risk. This is not going to work. Like, just go get the 9 to 5. Even my husband still sometimes, when you go through the ebbs and flows, and he's like, I can just get you a job at work. Like, you go to work, you come home, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, I know.
Like, not over my dead body.
It's
Like,
not
I would
it's
never
not
be
an
able to do
option.
it.
It's
No.
not an option, and when you do have that chip on your shoulder, I mean, those people, they really, like, they take it to the next level because, like, I'm also, like, extremely competitive. So, like, to think that they would win, those people who all doubted me, like,
Yeah.
not on my fucking watch. They
Yeah.
don't win
Not a
'cause I
chance.
was too sore of a loser, and
Yeah.
I couldn't live with myself if, I just, like, gave into that. And because it's easy to some days just
Oh,
say, you
yeah.
know what, it's, maybe they're right. I gave them my
Mhm.
best shot and feel
Yeah.
sorry for yourself and, be done with it. But I don't know. There's always been that fire in me just to prove people wrong.
I know that's it's something that for some of us it works in our favor. For others, it makes them crumble. But for us,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So with all of the competition out there, because obviously we have a ton of competition, how do you stand? Like, how do you make yourself stand out? That's something that I always wonder. Like when people are always being chosen as the realtor, I'm like, what are the magic words that they are saying? Or you know what I mean? Because for me, I'm always like, when they say, okay, Michelle, so why should we choose you? And it's like, you know what? You need to go on your gut. You need to go on what you think is right. Like, I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I can't show you anything until you hire me.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I put a lot of yeah, everyone has their thing. For me, it's the social credibility. Like that's
Mhm.
something that sets me apart from a lot of
Oh,
other
for sure.
people
Yeah.
when I go into an appointment and I'm up against some other agents. That's something I can, that's a card I can pull that others can't, and I
Mhm.
know that. So, just little things like that. The other great thing is I'm at a point now where like I don't when I was starting, it was like I needed the listing because I
Mhm.
needed to make money. And
Mhm.
obviously I still need to make money, but like with with the podcast and the content, like that the whole content creation side of my business is monetized now as well. So I don't
Mhm.
feel that like
Financial burden. Like I have to
yeah.
pay a
And
damn
for
house.
me, I like that. Like it makes me a better salesperson when
Mhm.
like I go in not needing the listing. I want the listing because I want to help them. And
Yeah.
it's just a better position to be in for me.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I just like talk about, the videos. The videos get hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah.
Like that's more than posting it on realtor.ca or doing an
Yeah.
open house. Like people sending mail outs,
Yep.
that's all nice, but I can literally do a video of your house and get 100,000 views within 2 days. So
Yeah.
like that's
That is a
things
huge competitive advantage.
a very big yeah, and it doesn't work all the time because people, you know, they value different things. So like one thing I don't really get is like the people who say like, number 12 in Toronto. It's like that's a great accolade, but if you're the people who are super analytical and want those things for in their agent, they're going to get number 1. They're
Yeah.
not they're not going to get the 12th best. They're going to get the first best.
Yeah.
So if that's all they're interested in and that's your whole sales pitch, you're going to be in for a bumpy ride. You need a bit more. You need layers to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't just hang my hat on the content. I do other stuff, but that's kind of like my first layer because I know it kind of sets me apart from other things and maybe the 4 other agents who were there before me, it's a different look than they've heard from the
Yeah.
other agents.
And I think too, probably I feel like I attract the people that I would work well with me. And I'm sure you probably do too. They've probably seen you somewhere in order to have called you or got in touch with you, right? So chances are they kind of already know who you are a little bit and already want to really work with you, probably, right?
Yeah, the crazy thing is like I had someone call me like a couple months ago and it was like they had this agent. He sell is an area I didn't even sell in, and there's this agent that just like crushes. Some agents just like farm so well, and they just like crushed it.
I
Literally
have
every
one of
sign
those
is
too.
theirs. Yeah, so it wasn't even in my area at all. And the guy called me out of the blue, and he's like, "We are all set to go with this guy," and he's like, "I saw your videos." And he's like, I needed to call you and see what's going on." And I was like,
That's so awesome.
so I got like an interview and stuff, but like I don't think no, I didn't get that listing. The fucking guy did. But just the fact that he had called me like because I had never sold. It was like an hour and a half away from me. So I was like, I'll take it because it was like a $4 million listing. But like, yeah, and that's another thing. It was a really high end listing. But
Mhm.
so I was gonna travel for it a little bit, but I was like, I don't have anything out there. I was like, I can do what I do, and I'm just super honest in
Yeah.
the appointments. Like, I'm not gonna tell them what they want to hear. Like, I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to
That is
price
like my
something.
famous line.
Yeah, well, it's just like I don't want to price something 300,000 over ask.
No.
So then, over like what the value is. So then I can just like every month get
Hang
a
out.
50,000 price reduction.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather just price it to sell, and that's that. I mean, and that's the biggest thing in this market right now is you have to price it right or you're fucked.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why I just tell them like I don't want to. Yeah, I have no reason to lie to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I think a lot of people appreciate that too, because there are a lot of agents that will come in and tell them whatever they want to hear so that their sign will get to go up on the lawn. And then it's a terrible experience, both for the agent and for the consumer, because they're pissed off going like, what the fuck? You told us that, this was what we were going to get. And here we are 6 months later, right?
it's getting harder and harder. It's getting harder and
Yeah.
harder because these fucking guys are going in, doing it for 1%,
Oh,
saying it's worth $200,000 more than what it's worth. They're giving them a fucking free iPad and trip to Mexico. It's like, I'm not doing that. Like,
no.
but like, all that's great. But like, if you sell it $100,000 like below market value, that all goes away.
Yeah, you
Sell
just
it-
paid for your trip to Mexico.
Yeah,
And
you paid for it all.
Yeah.
So like it sounds great in hindsight, but like they need to understand what they're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
And they don't. Like they're blinded by the shiny objects.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
And I think too, like, they don't realize what listing too high does to their property. It definitely makes a difference when people are looking at your property and they're going, oh, okay. So, because me on the buying side of things, when I'm looking at a listing and I'm seeing that it's been on the market for 69 days, I'm like, ooh, we're going to get a deal on this baby.
Gonna get a deal.
Right?
And immediately my wife, she's a teacher, not in real estate. Immediately she goes, what's wrong with it?
Exactly. Right.
That's what, someone who's just kind of outside looking in the industry, that's the first thing you think. There's something wrong with it. It's got foundation issues.
Yep. Always. That's always the first thing.
Yeah. So you don't want to put yourself in that position because it goes stale fast.
Very. Yep. So what would a typical day in your life look like?
It's honestly all different. Like
you don't have a routine, like you don't like
I time block everything, but I do a lot of like podcasting and like meetings and stuff like that as I start to grow within my company. And so yeah, it's all like completely different. I time block everything I need to do. Everything content is in the forefront of everything, unless I have like showings or listing appointments or stuff like that. That will take priority. But yeah, I'm honestly just always thinking, how can I just stay top of mind for longer and just kind of set myself from the pack? Because now, like when I started doing these comedy videos, there wasn't very many people doing them. Like as much as there is now. Every other video now from a real estate agent, some sort of dance or fucking trend thing. So like, which is fine. That's cool. But like, it was easy to set myself apart back then because I was, there was only a couple other people doing it. Now it's like everyone's kind of throwing their hat at it. So, I'm just constantly trying to think of, I think that's something that we don't value enough, is just like being known. Like we need to just get our name. We need to get that name out there. So I put a lot of priority into like time blocking ideas, and I have a production crew, and like I'm always like tossing ideas around and just shit like that, and then doing stuff for BAM.
Have a list of video ideas, and my goal is to at least post one video a day, and that list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I'm like, why can't I just discipline myself to like a specific time of day and just post the damn video and then be done?
Yeah, I mean, it's all it takes. Like honestly, just like what I would do is like we've all heard this before, but like make a list of like Matthew McConaughey talked about this. I almost called him my dad calls him Matthew McConaughey, and I almost can never. Matthew McConaughey says stuff about this, as he has a list of like 30 things to do in a day, and some of them are like so small and nothing, but it's still like a task he gets to cross off. So like if
Mhm.
I were you, if you're having trouble like actually getting to film it, like I would do like write everything you want to do that day and all your small tasks, like make your bed, make your coffee, take out the garbage, film your video. And then like you can't get to the next task until
Oh,
you've
without
crossed out.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a mind
Chronological.
thing. Yeah, yeah, and it's just like, okay, well, I've done this. I need this is just next on the list, or I can't get to the
Next
rest
one.
of the list. So that might be something because sometimes it's honestly just doing the same thing, but it's like flipping it in your mind. It's all about
Mhm.
like switching it to where it makes sense in your mind. I
Mhm.
found that too sometimes. So like that's why I find it weird when people are like, Ryan Serrant wakes up at like 4 a.m. to like go work out and shit. Like I don't do that. Like everyone thinks you have to do that to be as
Yeah.
successful as Ryan Serrant. That works for him.
Yeah.
His mindset, like that's perfect. That doesn't mean everyone in the world has to do that. It's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
finding that like balance and finding what works, like where your mind and your like everything, your body's just like, yeah, okay, I can
Yeah.
handle this. This works for me.
Yeah, like I came home from my conference in Vegas in October, and, like, I was like, something flicked the switch. It's taken me 33 years to figure out that I just need to freaking do the workouts in the mornings, and if I do it in the morning, I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm totally cool. I'll do it every day just to get it done and out of the way, and, I find that that has kept me on track for being able to like have more energy and feeling good and that kind of thing. And I mean, it's different for everybody, but now that I've figured out that as long as I do it in the morning, I can get it done. Now I had a sick kid today. I will still get on my bike
Yeah.
eventually. But now I almost like before you couldn't pay me to get on my bike. Like the
Yeah.
Peloton bike, you could not pay me to. But now, I almost feel like I just have to get it done. I'm on like a 14 or 15-day streak and I don't wanna screw up the streak.
Yeah. That's how, yeah. Yeah. I get that. I get that for sure.
So, do you have any crazy, funny real estate stories? I'm sure you do, but, does one pop into mind that you
Um,
think would be worth sharing?
There's one like I feel like I've just had like really weird things happen to me. So it was like probably 2 weeks into the business. I was on a team and I was doing buyer revisits just to get like comfortable with letting people in houses and shit and talking to people.
Trying to get the lock boxes open? I still
Yeah.
struggle with that 8 years
Oh my
later.
god, I know it's insane. But yeah, I was doing like buyer revisits. My team leader was in Spain, so he had like a big client. They're like they're like high end lawyers or some shit. So there's like $6 million house in High Park somewhere that I had to do like a revisit for, and they're like, honestly, just like go open the door and just
Stand there.
like leave them alone. Don't like even talk to them. And I was like, all right, easy enough. So like the I had to get I had like no money like getting into the business as well. So the night before, I had no money, so my wife and I went to Winners, and she bought me like a blazer and a turtleneck because I didn't have any nice clothes that I could wear to this. And I brought it home. We went out for dinner. Then when I got home, I still lived at home with my parents. My dog had got sprayed by a skunk. So like the
No.
whole house smelled like skunk. So now my entire outfit smells like skunk. So I was like, all right. So now I just smell like I've just smoked like 7 joints, like always. So like now I go up the next day, I'm in my skunk smelling shit. And like I meet her at the house, the client, and she's waiting and she's talking to me a little bit, and we're just making small talk, and then the listing agent comes because it's like a high price listing, so the listing agent's there to let us in. And our buyer goes like, oh yeah, I have like my contractor coming, I have a plumber coming and an electrician coming, because they had booked a 2-hour revisit, but somehow that got like mixed up, and the listing agent was like, no, that doesn't work for me. I only have 45 minutes and you got to go. and then they start like yelling, yelling to the point where it starts to get like they start like pushing a little bit, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to be kicked out of the industry 2 weeks in. And like I'm just like, I call the assistant at our office. I'm like, they're like pushing and they're yelling, and she can hear the screaming. She's like, Matt, what the fuck did you do? You said to open the door. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then the listing agent like starts yelling at me. She's like, can you get your client under control? And I was like, oh my god. I was like, lady, I'm just trying to open the door
I'm
and
just
get out
here
of
to
here
open the
unscathed.
door.
And then that lady, yeah, and then like I don't know, they finally resolved it. The assistant was like, put them on the phone. So like the assistant, the team lead's assistant, like resolved it all, because I couldn't do it. I wouldn't dare talk to anyone. And then they resolved it, and then the listing agent wrote me up. So then I thought I was gonna get kicked out just for getting the write up 2 weeks in. It was just like an odd experience. Like I had no idea.
You didn't have your counseling degree yet. You probably do now.
No. Oh my god. If that happened now, it would be, I'd probably
No.
still be kicked out of the industry, but for
Yeah.
different reasons. I'd just be like yelling back
Yeah.
the whole time. But it was crazy. It was very like 2 weeks in, you're scared. Everything you do when you're that like early
Yeah.
on, you just think
You don't
you're
wanna
gonna make a
screw up.
mistake, or you're gonna get fired, or you're gonna, yeah. So you just don't want to screw up.
That is funny. Okay, a couple, like I wrote like a whole bunch of questions
Nice.
for
I
you.
love that.
I'm not gonna ask you all of them because I do
Ask
respect
away. Oh, good.
ask your time. One of them though is, one of them is, does all of your business come from social? Which I imagine quite a bit of it does, but
Yeah, social and referrals now.
yeah.
But I do kind of want to get. I hate door knocking, but some people have told me like, oh, you can't door knock, and now I'm like kind of mad. So I'm gonna like start door knocking these like really high end areas,
Yeah.
just in spite of them, to get a
should.
sick ass listing, and I'm gonna document it.
Yeah,
So
you should.
yeah, that's what I want to do next.
And if it works for you, I'll do it here.
There you go. I mean, it's all
We'll start something. We'll start a trend.
Yeah, there you go. Just like it's all about mindset.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to do that next. Just I like challenges.
What would you say is the best advice you've ever been given?
I'm
sure you've been given a lot of advice by a lot of different people.
A lot of advice, but not very good advice. Like everyone told me not to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And now that I'm doing what I'm doing, no one really tries to give me advice.
Yeah.
Which I would appreciate advice. One thing, it wasn't really advice. I don't know who said it though, but they were saying like, and it stuck with me like early on when right before I kind of flipped the switch on like getting into these comedy ideas. Someone said, they're like, are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? And I thought that was interesting. That's interesting insight, because they're different things if you think about it. Playing not to lose is just kind of like
getting by.
You don't want to fly under the radar, get by unscathed, and just do your thing. But playing to win is to fucking win.
Yeah.
So that was. I think subconsciously that maybe
had
done something to me. Yeah. Yeah. So that was really cool. And then there's been a lot of stuff from like, just like I can't really pick one thing out, but like I really cherish like the conversations I have with like Mauricio Umansky, who's the founder of the agency. Some of the conversations I've had with Sirhan and Jordan Cohen and those people just as a whole, just to get insights from them is like incredible, because what they've done is just like next level. It's almost like,
and they like have a different mindset than most standard people do, right? Like they just have like, they're hungry. Right?
Yeah, they just, yeah, exactly. It's very interesting to just be in a room and listen to them talk. And when I'm in a room with them, I'm not really talking like
You're the little fish.
I'm just listening, because that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think kind of like what I'm trying to achieve here is being able to bring people on. And I know a lot of people, like when they first get into the industry, is very overwhelming and you have no idea what the hell you're doing. And you almost feel like embarrassed that you don't know what you're doing. So you're like secretly watching these podcasts or like videos trying to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's something that I want to be able to give back, because I was one of those people who I'm like listening to every podcast I possibly can or watching all the videos that I can watch. And
Yep.
so would you say that there's been a book that has been the most impactful for you? Are you a reader? I'm an Audible, but
You're an Audible.
I'm an Audible.
Yeah, there has, but it has nothing to do with real estate. It was a Sebastian Maniscalco. He's a comedian. His
Okay.
like biography was amazing, and
Yeah.
it was just like to hear his journey and what he went through to get to where he is
Mm-hmm.
was just like super inspiring. And again, this was like right before I read that right before I started doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, it seemed to be like an accumulation of things. I'm not big on the like, I don't know, a lot of books in this industry. I think people like because they feel like they have to like them.
Right.
Like, and I'm not saying like some people actually enjoy them. Like not everyone has to enjoy the same things, but like I read like The One Thing. Like, I mean, wasn't groundbreaking to me. I don't know. Like
Right.
it's just like, but people feel like everyone you ask is like, oh, it's the greatest book about like our $1 million real estate agent or whatever it's called. That one
Right.
was pretty good actually. But The One Thing or like the 10x rule, it seems like pretty like maybe surface level shit. Like I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything really groundbreaking in there. I mean, but for some people, maybe it changed something for them. Just
Yeah.
for me, I just feel like you don't have to like everything. Like I don't know. So many agents are like, that's the best book I've ever written or read. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I
Well,
feel like
and
you're
to
saying that
different
just to say
people,
it.
right? Like different people, different seasons of their life. It's just a matter of like you
Yeah,
can listen to, like for me, like I can listen to the same book 2, 3 times, and each time I get a different message out of it. Like The Compound Effect for me has been a
yeah,
really good book, and Hug Your Customer is also another really great book.
yeah,
And I've listened to them multiple times, and I feel like I learn different things different times. And that's why I love talking to different people in the industry, because I'm like, surely I'm going to learn something, because I don't
yeah.
know everything.
That's a good point because yeah, one of my favorite books as well prior to the Sebastian Maniscalco book was The Secret, which is all
Hmm.
based on the law of attraction. And so many
Yep.
people think that's just a bunch of bullshit, but I wholeheartedly believe in it. And I feel like it
Oh,
is a big
100%.
part of what I do today is because of that and
Yeah.
the practice of law of attraction for me. So yeah, I totally get that. Like, everything's not for everyone.
Yep. I'm a big, I used to actually go to sleep. I used to fall asleep to The Secret movie,
Yeah.
like for probably 2 years. So I'm a
Yeah.
big believer in that too. And so I guess what would you say you do for motivation? Like, do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts? What motivates you? Like, what makes you continue to grow and to educate yourself and that kind of thing?
A couple things. I journal every night just to remind myself of why I'm doing it and what I want. Um,
Oh, yes. I remember you talking about that in the video course. And I was like, oh, he actually believes in this shit too. Cause like
yeah,
I have vision boards and I have written out things, and you were saying how like literally your shit's come true. And I'm like, I can vouch for that too. It works for me.
yeah, yeah. Like literally, so many of the things I've written down have just like, and it's the hardest thing to explain, but like I've like visioned it before in like a blurry way, and then like when it actually happens, it's like that blurry vision goes away and it clears up. It's
Yeah.
like the crazy experience.
And it's like
Um,
a surreal feeling. Like it, even to this day, I always believed that I was going to have all boys. Like I
yeah,
thought all my kids were going to be boys. I had psychics tell me that I was going to have 3 boys, and I have a son, and now I have a daughter, and who's 3. And I'm still like, there's days where I'm just like in awe of the fact that I have a daughter. Like
Yeah.
I believed so deeply that I was going to have sons that I was like, I'm just so grateful all the time to just, it's so surreal sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, that's a big one for me. Just like my wife, just wanting to give her like make us like the most comfortable possible. That motivates me. And then just like seeing other content and like wanting to just better myself. Like I'm not um like I don't ever want to feel complacent or like I've done enough or like my content is it's done growing. I don't
Right.
even think I've scratched the surface with my
Mhm.
content. I think it's been a bit one dimensional up until now, and I'm excited to get to the next chapter of like I'm gonna start pulling back some layers, and adding a bit more of myself into these things. But it just yeah drives me to just always want to be better. So yeah, that's kind of like what motivates me, not being complacent, and like
Yeah.
there's still so much
Oh yeah.
that
I'm the
I need
same
to
way.
do.
Like I can never like I I have this weird fear of watching TV because I'm like, I'm not being productive. So sometimes like if there is a show I like, I feel guilty, but I'll binge watch it for like 2 days and then I'll get it all out of the way and I'm like, okay, I can go back to work now.
Oh really?
Yeah. There's like very few shows that I watch, Grey's Anatomy and a
My
couple
wife
of those.
watches Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, I've been watching it since I was like, I don't know, like 13 or
Yeah,
something.
it's been
So,
on forever. It's like the
yeah.
new Young and the Restless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
just like always on.
Yeah. Which I'm way behind in now, and I'm like, I cannot go down that whole rabbit hole right now. I don't
I
have
think it's okay. Like I felt like that a lot as well. And I found it gave me like I have a lot of anxiety with different things, and I found that gave me a lot of anxiety. The constant need to feel like I was working and being productive,
Mhm,
which I actually think that the times that I like have that relaxing time is like the best thing for me. And it's
mhm.
not for everyone, but like if I can like relax and like kind of recharge and reset, that's the best thing I can do for me.
Yeah.
So I let go of that, like constantly feeling guilty and feeling like I need to be productive.
Mhm. And wait until if you guys ever have children, the guilt between the having the children and, like, working, it's unbearable some days. I'm just like, I'm up here and I'm thinking, should I cancel the podcast because Ava's sick,
Yeah.
or should I just continue? But then she's down there with my dad's down there with her, so
Yeah.
she's fine. But the guilt thing is a real thing,
Yeah.
and it's yeah, it can consume your mind sometimes.
Yeah. I get that.
Um, what a couple two more things. What do you think is the biggest contributor to your success so far? I have a good guess,
Um,
but I'll let
yeah. I mean, I think for sure the content and the kind of finally letting my guard down and being myself, but I think also the consistency with it all.
Mhm.
Um, like you can't just post a couple videos and like even if you did post a couple videos and one went viral, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do.
Yeah.
It's got to be the consistency and have the drive to want to do that. And I mean, for me, always like if I wasn't interested in something, I wouldn't do it, no matter like
Right.
how much, if I didn't see
Value.
the value in it for me, it was just like I would not do it. So like that's why it was so important for me to find something I was passionate about to kind of
Mhm.
latch onto. Because when you're passionate, it's easy to be consistent. And when you're consistent, you get results.
Yep. Absolutely. Um, so what would be the most important thing a realtor could do today to level up their success in your opinion? Again, I have a good guess, but
Yeah, but it depends what that person is and what they're good
yeah,
at.
that's
Um, like there's people like I can go knock on 50 doors and like have some friends who get all their business from door knocking. They can knock on those same 50 doors and they're going to get much better results than I do. So
mhm,
like it's like about finding uh what
your
what you're
thing.
best at. So like that could be door knocking, that could be cold calling, that could be putting on client events. That could
Mhm.
be just like having an amazing sphere and being able to like talk to everyone at bars and gyms and
Network.
like Yeah, shit like that. So like it doesn't all have to be video. I think video is a great layer to kind of like break down the barrier between you and your audience.
Yeah.
So like, when you're not meeting someone in person, like a lot of people come up to me now and they go, I feel like I know you because
And
of
that's so cool.
all the kind of reps you've put in online. And that's awesome because they feel like they can come up and talk to you. So I don't think it's the end all be all, but I think it's a important strategy and like lead generation tool to have moving forward. Because even if you're like a door knock, like I have a lot of people be like, well, I don't need social because I door knock. I get all my business from door knocking. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't like how cool would it be is if you like door knocked, you brought them a flyer with a QR code that went to your Instagram page, had a picture
Exactly.
of you, and like they look at it, they either they're tech savvy and they do the QR code, or they just look at it and throw it out. Then they go sit on their couch and go on their phone, and then you target market on Facebook and Instagram that same
area.
ad. So then they see you again. So it's like you're farming on social and then you're farming on foot. You're just
Mhm.
like, you'll never leave that person's mind. You do that once a month. It's just another touch that a lot of people, I think, overlook.
Yeah, I think the consistency is a huge thing that most people struggle with. And I think with new agents, I mean, you're trying to find your way, you're trying to figure out what works for you. So, doing the cold calling and the door knocking and talking to your sphere, I mean, it takes a while to figure out, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I wish
And
I would have been told that it's okay to get you have time to figure your shit out.
yeah, well, yeah, for sure. But it's also like worth noting that you need to do it long enough. Like people will door
Yes.
knock for a week and be like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You need to like really do it. You need to commit.
Yeah.
It's a, I mean, it's a long term game. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't
It's
happen
a
overnight.
commitment.
Yeah, for sure. So like, yeah, people don't understand that. I mean, the last couple of years as well, like so many agents have gotten in and it's been kind of easy for them
Mhm.
because things are just moving so fast now that we're in a shifting market.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're gonna wean
eh,
all those babies out.
I think a lot of them are going to be gone and
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
it will be. Yeah, it's the good ones, the ones that are there for the right reasons, I think will be the ones to stay because we have a genuine drive to help people, I think.
Yeah.
Other people that were just in it for the quick fix and the quick money, I think they're gonna have a rude awakening and a big slap in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be
But
tricky.
now what final question, I promise. So what platforms are you focused on? Are you focused just right now on Instagram? Do you have YouTube? Like, where are you focusing your energy?
Yeah, my main focus for so long has been Instagram just because I think it's the best platform for everything, for photos, for videos, for interacting with people. I don't think
Right.
there's any better platform to connect. Um, but I think TikTok's huge, and I really need to put more emphasis on that. Same with YouTube. Uh, and we have some shows coming out as a part of Broke Agent Media that I'm going to kind of be leading.
Nice.
So we're going to be doing like more YouTube, TikTok, things like that. Because I think it's really important to diversify
Yeah, I think so
and get
too.
across all the platforms.
Yeah, you're reaching different demographics and different platforms, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what like I mean, the podcast has been so great for that though. Like, because before the podcast, it was all Instagram. And
mhm.
now that we have the podcast, it's more of like building the brand off our name
Yeah.
and not as much on just like the amount of followers we have or whatever.
Mhm.
So that's been the cool kind of first step into like a new territory for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to watch what conspires in the next years.
Yes.
I really do enjoy your humor, and I think we need more of it. Like I said, I wish I was funny. I try to be funny, and then I think I am, and I'm like, I can't. You could literally tell me a joke, and I could not even repeat it to say the joke. Like that's how bad I am when it comes to that.
That's all right. I mean, it's different for all types of people, and people need to realize that like that when they're trying to be funny and they're that's really just not them. Like everyone's like
Yeah,
funny sometimes, but like if that's not like you can tell when people are uncomfortable, and then it makes you like cringe a little bit. You're just
Yeah.
like, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And like even like the swearing and stuff, like people have messaged me like, "Hey Matt, like should I swear?" I'm like, "No, like I don't really think about like it's
Yeah.
if you're thinking about it, no." Like I don't know, like I try like to tame back the swearing because I think it can like ruin a video
Yeah.
if you do it too much, because sometimes I can really go on these tangents where I'm just like really getting into it. But and it's also about the delivery. People need to understand, like I've seen people swear on camera and even I'm like, ooh, like that was a little harsh. And it was cool. I had someone call me, a pretty big agent in LA, and they were just like, Matt, like I love what you do because it's not supposed to work. And you say things that no one else can say, but there's some sort of like charm to it that it's like okay when you say it.
Yeah.
And I put a lot into the delivery because the delivery can completely change
Oh yeah.
everything.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
when you're saying fuck and shit like that. So like you gotta like just make sure it's there's definitely like a cadence and a delivery to it that you can't get too aggressive or it comes across as like very not okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really, really appreciate your time today. I think we had a great conversation, and I'm hoping that anybody tuning in now or later gets some value out of this. I'm sure that they will. I think the way as authentic as you are, I just think that you're modeling such a great thing because, and I myself, I'm the same way. I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with the fact that I sound the way I sound, I look the way I look. It is what it is. And I don't try to be anybody I'm not. And I think you do a really great job of just being yourself. And I think that's why people maybe feel so attracted to you is you're just so authentic and you're so yourself that they can really just open up to you because they know that you are who you are. So,
Thank you.
anyways, I really do appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have you on again sometime.
Yes.
And how can people follow you?
Just go Matt.Lionetti on Instagram, Lionetti. That's where I respond to as much as I can on there. And if you have a question or anything, just message me there.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.